Our future is in growing, and being soul-focused is how we grow. Hey, welcome to Soul Focus Radio. I'm Mahdi, your co-host, and I'm with my brother Dustin Washington. What's happening, Dustin? What's happening, D?
Top of the morning to you, Mahdi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You ready to jump in?
Yes, sir. Very ready.
Well, we got a question from across the water, bro. Patrick from Ireland. He has a two-part question. He wants to know both, how can you tell when your own power is invisible to you, and he wants to know, what do you have to do to make your power visible? It's a great question.
Wow. And Patrick, let me say this, that the quickest way to tell that your power is invisible to you is look in your life for where you're insecure. Wherever you are most insecure is definitely where your power is invisible to you. Because when you're insecure, you're going to find yourself competing, trying to please people, trying to impress people, trying to prove things to people, and also secretly criticizing people. You're going to find yourself participating in all those things on a constant basis, because what your ego is trying to do is hide your insecurity from you. But you can feel you're insecure because, the minute you get around someone that doesn't, it seems like they got their stuff together, you are afraid that it's going to bring out the fact that you don't have your shit together. And so most of us, we exist in a state of insecurity all the time because we're stuck in our ego. And that's one of the quickest ways to really discover or to find out or to determine how invisible your power is to you. Because when you are in your power, you don't have no insecurity. You stand on your own 2 feet. You're not trying to prove anything to anybody else. You don't care if people like you or not. You're not in a beauty contest. You know what I'm saying? Where you have a congeniality part of the contest or a swimsuit part of the contest. You don't care. You're not living for what people think about you. You are following soul and being obedient to what soul is leading you to do and the natural expression that soul is giving you to accomplish it. What you think about that, D?
Well, Mahdi, what I think was a question, really, bro. And just thinking on a feeling vibration, what would it feel like for Patrick to be in his power? How can he know from a feeling? Because we learn so much from what we feel, right? Not just intellectually.
Right. Well, one of the things that I know from my life coaching practice and working with thousands of people is that, people have a common way to express what happens when they're in their power. And one of the things, they feel secure. So the opposite of insecurity is to feel secure, self-assured, confident, like you're not in a hurry. It's like, think about pulling up to a red light and the light is red and somebody behind you blows the horn and you run the red light. You run the red light. Even though you saw it was red, their horn caused you to run the red light. Many of us, when we're insecure, that's how we live. We run red lights for other people because people push us because we don't have that confidence, that self-assuredness in ourselves. In other words, we are constantly doing things that we really don't want to do, but we do it to try to impress other people only to end up at the short end of the stick. We cheat ourselves. So imagine being your best friend, being 100% on your own side, not getting in your own way, Imagine living a life where you are really your best friend, and you never hear any bullshit come from out of your mouth, inside your head, or the mouth on your face. You never hear any kind of bullshit come out of it that stands against you. Even when you mess up, you still encourage yourself. Even when you mess up, you still have patience with yourself and compassion. That's being in your power. When we're out of our power, we attack ourselves. We get in our own way, and we become the greatest obstacle in our lives. And that's what ego is really, really works to do, to get us to become our greatest obstacle when we should be our greatest friend. That's why everybody, Patrick, should be working to get in their power. We got to live in our power and live in it unapologetically. Shouldn't have to apologize to nobody for choosing what's best for you and for going after what you want.
And Patrick, when I did my first life coaching session, or one of my first sessions with Mahdi, one of the things he asked me is, how much are you on your own side? And what was a trip for me was not to be able to say 100%. I mean, if I was being honest, I can only say, about 40% at that time. And that was such a trip for me, Mahdi and Patrick. Mahdi, can you talk a little bit more about being 100% on your own side? That's such a beautiful notion. Beautiful notion.
Wow. I want to say this, Patrick. The first thing you're going to discover when you start working consciously to become 100% on your side is that the people around you are not used to people being 100% on their side. This world has been designed in a way where we've been trying to make other people happy so much that people may start getting upset if you're trying to make yourself happy. Because, see, when you become 100% on your own side, you have to make making yourself happy a priority. And that means that some people are not going to like that because they want you to make them happy because they haven't learned how to be happy themselves. So one of the first things that happens when you start being 100% on your own side is that becomes a priority. That becomes so important to you. Now, for years in my life, I was not 100% on my own side. And it's painful because think about this, Patrick. You're with yourself 24 hours a day. There is no one that you are going to spend more time with in this world. Even when you're with other people, you're with yourself. So imagine how painful it is to be with the only person you will ever be with 24 hours a day for the rest of your life and not be on their side, not be totally in harmony with yourself. That means you are almost like creating your own matrix, your own prison, and then you are the warden in that prison. You are the prison guard. You're the one that's keeping you from experiencing the fullness of what your life can experience. And you are the one creating the prison. And guess what? When you're not fully on your side, you go from one relationship to the other, creating prisons for yourself, creating ways to oppress yourself. So you end up being the one that's creating all these self-inflicted wounds on you. You're the one creating these wounds. You're the one injuring yourself over and over again until you get to that point to where you are 100% on your own side.
Damn, Mahdi, when you just said that, what it made me think is how we export the responsibility for our reality out to other people, out to the world. But you're saying that we are 100% responsible for our own reality.
Yes. We may not be to blame for things that go wrong. Like a child could be molested. A woman could be raped. They're not to blame because it's not their fault for being molested or being raped. It's not their fault. But if they're going to take their lives and go to the next level with it, if they're going to transform the way they see themselves and begin to live in a very powerful way, they have to take responsibility for the first thing, for being on their own side, for in their own mind, not looking at what they experience and putting themselves down and finding fault in themselves and saying, maybe you deserved it and all that stuff. You have to be on your team. You got to make sure that you are cheering for yourself, that you are your best friend. That needs to be everybody's objective, to be your best friend. The whole world would be different if you were on your side and everybody else was on theirs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mahdi, I'm so glad you made the distinction between fault and responsibility. There's a lot of spiritual teachers out there who will teach, and to some degree rightfully so, that we're responsible for our own reality, but don't make the differentiation between fault and responsibility. So I appreciate you lifting that up.
No, I say that's important. I just wanted to say that's so important because, and a lot of us, don't take responsibility for our life, like you said, because we're so busy blaming other people. And we could blame other people. Yeah, somebody else may be at fault, but at the end of the day, your life is your responsibility, not anyone else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, Mahdi, as you say that, again, it took me back to childhood because I've spent so much of my adult life living in the past, stuck in the past, trauma, abuse, and things that I experienced as a child, and use that as an excuse to not taking responsibility for what was happening in my life in the present moment. And it was such a gift to break out of that prison of fault and taking responsibility. And bro, just one more thing, thinking about Patrick's question, would Patrick be able to see that his intuition will become more vibrant as he becomes more 100% on his side? And would trusting his intuition be a good message for him that he's getting more in touch with his natural expression?
Well, the thing is, your intuition is a component of your natural expression. Your intuition, your gut, your first mind, all of these are components or extension of soul. Natural expression is an extension of soul. So the more you are being able to be present to your intuition, and be present to your gut, be present to your first mind, you are being present to your soul, which means you're getting more friendly with yourself. You're listening to yourself more. Because here's what we tend to do when we're not friends with ourselves, when we're not 100% on our own side. We don't listen to ourselves. We want everybody else to listen, but we don't listen to ourselves. Think about all the people that you've given advice to, and imagine how different your life would be even with that if you put into action the advice you gave to other people. But the reason why you didn't put into action the advice you gave to other people was because you didn't believe in you.
Wow.
And it is a travesty for you to want other people to believe in you and you don't believe in you. Matter of fact, you have no right whatsoever to want other people to believe in you until you believe in you. Until you are 100% on your own side, you have no right to expect somebody else to be on your side.
You speak truth. You speak truth, Mahdi. Well, Patrick, thank you for your powerful question. And Patrick, as always, and everybody listening, stay soul focused.
Peace.
Patreon is a site that allows content creators to earn money for the work they are creating and sharing with the public. If you wish to support and follow content created by Soul Focus Work, visit their new Patreon account at www.patreon.com/soulfocuswork.